Facebook Live today that I am so excited to host. My name is Marcy Webb, and I am the Sexual Abuse Program Supervisor at Access, the Assault Care Center. We're the local nonprofit agency that works with victims of crime. And I'm here today with activist and author Deb Kline, who has published her book, Forgetting to Remember, A Healer's Journey of Surviving and Thriving. I would like to let you know that the content of this live today will focus on the topic of sexual abuse. And so I just want to make sure that you all know that, of course, you have permission to take care of yourselves. And if you want to step away or back out of the stream at any time, please, of course, feel free to do so, and nobody will know the difference. So welcome, Deb.
Thank you, Marcy.
I am so excited that we are here today for this conversation. Please start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and about the book.
Yeah, so the book is called Forgetting to Remember, A Healer's Journey of Surviving and Thriving, as Marcy mentioned. And I wrote it because I wanted people who haven't experienced trauma to know what it was like to experience it and then forget about it, kind of carry that nebulous unknowing with you into adulthood, and then remember it later, what that was like to remember forgotten trauma, and then also to heal it. And so it's a way of explanation for people that are unfamiliar. And it's also a story of support for people that have gone through this and realize that they're not alone and that other people have gone through this too. So in the book, I set up things with forgotten memories and also with always memories is what I call them. Mm-hmm. And that way you can go along my childhood, know some of the trauma, but then also know some of the other events that were non-traumatic that helped shape my life as well. So remembering, the remembering process involved having panic attacks. And then that's how I knew something was wrong. And I went to therapy and explored that. And that's when the memories came flooding back. So I did a lot of traditional therapies that are in the book, and I did some untraditional ones too to help get me through that. But I wanted to let people know that I've had a wonderful 15-year grace period of feeling whole and healthy before writing the book. So even though the trauma seems new to the reader, reading it for the first time, it's something that I have quite a bit of distance and perspective from, and that there's no part of my journey that still haunts me. And so that's why I was able to write and share, because I'm not traumatized by rewriting the book or sharing with you today. So we're going to do a little music. Music was very healing for me growing up. I invented songs that kind of soothed that inner nebulous unknowing that I call the shadow monster. And while I was on my piano bench singing and playing, the shadow monster kind of, fell asleep or was lulled to sleep. And I was able to feel almost normal when I was playing the piano. And so I have childhood songs that have always been with me that are just a part of me now. And then later on in my teen years, so my early years, I experienced father-daughter incest from ages 3 to 7. And then that stopped. And then when I was 13, I experienced a stranger rape with 3 guys in a truck. So there was forgetting that too. Since I'd already forgotten the early childhood trauma, it was easy for me to just slip that little rape incident right along with those forgotten memories. But in those teen years, I learned to play the guitar, and I'm going to share a song with you today that my teen self wrote. And then artwork that I'm going to share today, all of the artwork is from after remembering the trauma and processing it. And so artwork was very important in my healing journey, so we're going to look at some of that as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I know that I created a little Q&A. So my first question for you, Deb, is one of the ways that I've seen survivors of trauma be able to really survive and function is by compartmentalizing the trauma and putting it somewhere deep down and just not acknowledging it or subconsciously even forgetting that it happened. That is both a common and a very effective human coping mechanism. Tell us a little bit about your experience of forgetting the trauma and about the shadow monster that you highlight throughout the book.
Right. I'm going to let you hold up the card of the shadow monster.
Yes.
So you can see in the card, as Marcy holds it up, the little figure in the middle is this person that's got monster makeup on. And I often felt like people could tell there was something wrong with me, that this monster inside me was somehow visible to other people, even though I was trying to hide it. And then that little person is carrying a lunchbox, which represents that the trauma was with me wherever I went. I carried that little monster inside me everywhere I went. And then the figure below, looking with binoculars, is trying to find out what's wrong and seeking for answers. And of course, she's looking outside of herself, everywhere but in, because it's too scary to look in. And then the large figure that kind of overcasts everyone is this superhero woman. And it turns out that the superhero and the shadow monster were one and the same. She became a superhero when the shadow monster knew that I was in a safe enough place that I could remember my trauma and the adult me could handle it. And so the superhero freed all of the memories, bringing them to light so that I could remember and heal them. So the shadow monster is really a superhero in the end. So I'm going to share in the book a little bit about what the child experienced with the shadow monster. Always memory. One of my favorite TV shows growing up in our first house is Sesame Street. I love all of its characters. I can relate firsthand to Cookie Monster's love of chocolate chip cookies, and I sing his C is for Cookie song whenever I gobble a cookie myself. And then there's the lovable monster, Grover. His Super Grover segments and the skits where he plays a waiter are the best. My favorite children's book, The Monster at the End of This Book, features Grover. When I am old enough, I read this book countless times and never tire of it. I remember memorizing it while having it read to me before I can decipher the words. Grover is pictured in the story pleading with the readers not to turn the page because he heard that there is a monster at the end of the book, and he is afraid to see it. With every page turn, Grover is more and more nervous because he and the readers are getting closer to the finish and closer to the monster he fears. Grover is pictured nailing book pages shut, breaking them up, pleading with the reader not to finish the book, to just close the book and put it away. But of course, I never put the book down and insist it's read all the way to the end. Spoiler alert, the monster at the end of this book is Grover himself. Growing up, I have neither insight nor hindsight. I am afraid of the shadow monster within me, just as Grover is afraid of the monster at the beginning of his book and all the way through. I know my shadow monster is also there in the end, waiting, and I don't want to turn the pages of my life that get me closer to it. Unlike Grover's happy ending, I imagine my shadow monster as foreign, an internal enemy, a frightening entity, something other than me. In fact, the shadow monster is the protective gatekeeper, guarding all the trauma, sealing it behind closed doors. Unwittingly, by battling against the shadow monster, I am fighting against the only shield keeping me safe from the truth, a truth no child is equipped to handle.
Thank you so much. So Deb, excuse me, much of this book is written in a personal narrative, sort of memoir style format, but you also chose to include a lot of poetry in the book. Tell us about the poetry readers will see throughout the book.
Yeah, so the chapters are introduced by a poem. Some of the poems I wrote before I remembered. Some of the poems I wrote afterward or are partial song lyrics. And I wanted a way to interrupt the chapters because it can be a bit heavy topic to constantly be reading of trauma. So that's why I interrupted the story with always memories and forgotten memories, and then also put the poetry between the chapters. And this was a way I didn't have to write a separate poetry book.
Yes. Yes.
So I had the very good fortune in my college years of having a poetry class with Mary Swander. And so several of the poems in the book are from that era of my early 20s. And also this is a time when I didn't remember, but you can hear in the poems that knowing seeping through kind of between the lines. So I'm going to have you hold up an art card. So this is called Prisoner of the Past, and it represents that nebulous time in between remembering. And the poem I'm going to read is called There's Something New, Yet Something Old in My Closet. There's something new, yet something old in my closet. It's behind the clothes that mask my mood and project a someone. It's behind the collectibles salvaged from my childhood. It's a big, dark space I'm afraid to enter, a space feeling far too familiar to be comfortable. Why haven't I seen it before now? Surely it's been there all along, though invisible to denying eyes. I shoot glances in its direction, but my eyes quickly dart away. There's something new, yet something old in my closet, a dark, terrifying void. I can't bear the thought of it being there.
Thank you. So, Deb, much of the content of this book really focuses on the very difficult victimization experience of father-daughter incest. And you talk about your experiences as a child. Tell us a little bit about what it was like for you as a child experiencing this trauma.
Yeah, so as a child, I didn't really know that what my dad was doing was necessarily wrong. Mm-hmm. And he called it a special game. And at first I did feel very special because it was just him and me. And nobody else knew about it. It was supposed to be a secret. So it had this kind of attractive tone to it. Mm-hmm. And, I didn't feel like he was hurting me. I wasn't afraid of my father. And so it had this nebulous kind of feeling of, as I got older, I didn't really want to play anymore, but I didn't know why. And I didn't want to disappoint Dad. So I just played along. But it was never actually scary until the episode that ended it, which you can read about in the book. And that's why it got stashed away as trauma. So, but remembering it as an adult was very, traumatizing. It was actually more upsetting for me as an adult to remember what happened, because now I know that's not what's supposed to happen. That no child is supposed to have that kind of relationship with their father. And so to heal it, the adult me needed a lot more time and attention than the child did. Okay. So I'm going to share with you just a little bit about what that was like. The secret that I was supposed to keep. Forgotten memory. Whoops. I accidentally let it slip. The words special game, which I promised never to mention, came spilling out of my mouth in an argument with my mother. I am really mad at her. She is forbidding me to camp out in the neighbor's backyard tent with Big Bro because I'm too little. I'm sure when I ask Dad, he will say yes and let me camp with the big kids. So I ignore her and dig my sleeping bag out of the closet. She insists Dad will also say no and orders me to put the sleeping bag away. To prove to her that Dad will side with me, I blurt out, Well, you might not let me sleep in a tent, but Dad will, because he calls me his big girl and he plays a special game with me. It's a secret between just me and him, and no one else can play with us, not even you. I instantly realize my mistake and regret it as my words echo between us. What game? She interrogates me. At first, I stay silent with a blank stare, too nervous to answer. Mom repeats the question. It is too late to take back my words, so I offer. It's a secret, and I promise not to tell. You'll have to ask Dad. He can tell you about the game if he wants to. I have already said too much. After the argument with Mom, I am nervous about my grave mistake and about my dad coming home from work. Will she ask him about the special game? Or maybe she'll just forget about it, and then I won't get in trouble with Dad. I hope for the rest of the day that Mom won't mention it. My hopes are dashed. Soon after my dad's return home, I hear my parents arguing upstairs in their bedroom behind closed doors. I creep upstairs to my bedroom next to theirs, so I'm able to listen to what they are saying. Their voices carry loud enough that I don't have to strain to hear. What special game is Deborah talking about? Mom demands to know. Dad lies, sounding incredulous. I don't know what game she's talking about. She's just a little girl with a wild imagination. It could be anything. She could be talking about checkers, for Christ's sake. As they argue, my child mind does not know that my mom is fighting to protect me, and that my dad is fighting to keep abusing me and keep himself from being exposed. Instead, I think that the special game makes Mom jealous and that she wants to play too.
Thank you.
So I'm going to have you hold up another card. So I'm going to be singing a song written by this 13-year-old girl represented in this card. You can see how she's kind of in the shadows at first, but she's getting closer to the light in the picture. And also there's a mother figure and a child figure, and that's my older, wiser self helping heal this person inside me. So I mentioned that music was a huge healer for me, that I invented songs to soothe the shadow monster. And this teenage girl also wrote a song that I'm going to play for you. It's called Waiting for Rain. And I wrote this in 8th grade. We had guitar class, and that's where I learned to play the guitar. And much like my piano playing, soothing the shadow monster, I wrote this little tune that was kind of a lullaby. As you can imagine, the rape incident happened at 13. It's about 14 when I'm writing this song. The shadow monster is getting a little bit more closer to the surface. It's one thing to bury trauma from a long time ago, and it's another thing to have a similar trauma on top of that, kind of stirring up that shadow monster. So I took guitar and made up this little song just in the 8-week course that we took. And at first it didn't have words, and I would just hum the melody. And for the longest time, it was just a hummed song. And then later, when I was able to heal, the words just kind of came spilling out, the lyrics did. And I know the 13-year-old that was healing wrote this song and these words. And it's all about wanting to cry, needing to cry, not knowing why, and then finally understanding. So this song goes all out to all the people who really need a good cry. It's called Waiting for Rain. Waiting for rain. Sultry moods swell like held breath, clouds rolling in, exhaling the sky's ocean like the teardrops in my mind, Sorrow seeps through lashes fine, till the beads burst spilling the heart's desire. Pregnant with flood, cascading pools skimming soggy ground, sorrow flows, anointing a weary soul. Like the teardrops in my mind, sorrow seeps through lashes fine, till the beads burst spilling the heart's desire. Waiting for sun, rays of beam stream beneath the clouds, breezing by. Pastel splay o'er the gray. Now waters recede, relief, a sigh of release. Wilting dew steams into a rainbow. A rainbow. Waiting for rain, waiting for rain, waiting for rain, waiting for rain.
Yay, thank you so much, Deb.
Thank you.
I think that's so interesting that you wrote that song so long ago, and then in your healing journey, you were able to add to it and complete it in a different way.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a question about the trauma that you experienced and the stranger rape the incest trauma that you experienced, and then the stranger rape that you also explain in the book that you experienced a bit later on. You identify remembering them separately. Tell us a little bit about that. What was that like for you?
Yeah. So when I went to therapy and learned that I had had this trauma, and it was revealed to me, all of the memories came flooding back. I thought I was done with my healing journey and ready to walk out the therapist's door and enjoy my life again. And then I started having panic attacks again. And I was like, oh no, now what? And that's when the rape trauma came hurtling back. And it was far more scary for me as experiencing it and then remembering it. I loved my dad and trusted my dad. So that was, not as scary of a thing. But this was out of the blue. It happened in the middle of a sunny, beautiful day. It was strangers. I didn't know what was happening to me. At first, I thought I was just being kidnapped, But I thought I was being kidnapped. And then I didn't understand what was happening, even as it was happening to me. So it was much scarier. And I think that's why I had to remember that in a separate therapy session. So, So I'm going to read a little bit about this. I'm not going to read the rape trauma specifically, but just some of the events leading up to it. And then I'll cap it off with a song I wrote about it after I remembered everything. Okay, so. It's a sunny summer Saturday. The country road winds 4 miles door to door to my friend Lene's house. My bike and I conquer the hill again, this time heading south, and coast around the fork, doubling back towards Bluffs Park. Once I get to the park entrance, I'll be halfway there, and then hang a left on the off of the pavement and onto Lene's gravel road for the remaining 2 miles. So far, I'm midway to the park. Here comes a dark, rusted-out pickup, blaring country music, which adds to the noise of an unmuffled exhaust pipe. As the rumbling vehicle approaches me in the oncoming lane, I try to make out, is the truck black or is it blue? It's so dirt-caked, I can't tell. The 3 boys in the cab hang out the open windows, whistle and whoop. Hey, baby, looking good. I'm flattered that boys old enough to drive would pay any attention to me. I might have been okay if I had ignored them, but that's not what I do. I give them a broad smile and a 2-handed wave, balancing as I cruise without using the handlebars. Pleased with myself, I keep pedaling hands-free as they zoom past me, giving me a few horn honks and hollers. I don't recognize these boys. The Texas license plates make me assume they are on vacation, here to visit someone local. I wish this were the end of the story. I wish I could meet up with my friend Lene and impishly tell her the story about the older teens noticing me. But no. I hear tires squeal from behind. A quick backward glance tells me the truck has made a tight U-turn, and the rumbling hootenanny crescendos as it catches up with me. Just keep pedaling, I tell myself. My hands return firmly to the handlebars now. Why on earth did I wave? I mutter. The hairs on my neck spike as they roar up and swerve around me. Perhaps they'll just keep going back to the park where they came from. Wishful thinking. I see them do a donut at the park entrance and head back towards me. Another boisterous drive-by and another burning rubber U-turn squeals from behind. I pray for them to go away. But this time, I hear the engine slow to a sputter as they sidle in beside my bike, truck wheels rolling even with my 10-speed pedal strokes. My former flashy grin wanes to a nervous, barely there smile, politeness masking fear. The driver leans across his 2 buddies. Need a lift? Nah, I'm not going far. I decline and focus my attention on reaching the halfway point of the park entrance in front of me. Nearly there. Where are you going? The engine sputters alongside, still matching my pace. I glance over. The driver looks and sounds more like Cary Grant than the big bad wolf. I relax a bit, noticing that the trio looks to be about Big Bro's age or a little older. Maybe the locals they are in town to visit are one of my brother's buddies. Just to a friend's house down the road a piece, I point one-handed to the south fork that changes from blacktop into gravel, heading away from the park. Well, let us take you, he says with a wry smile. You and your bike can hop in the back. His thumb indicates the truck bed. We'll drop you off. It would be nice to avoid the maneuvering my thin tires in the shifting gravel as I turn onto Lene's road for the remaining 2-mile stretch. I sheepishly agree, partly because my rolling chat with the driver has eased my flight senses, and partly because I'm afraid to offend the 3 of them by declining their kind offer. Thank you. So this chapter is called Joyride. And the song I'm going to play for you is also called Joyride. It was a song first before it was a chapter in my book. And this tells the same story in a more approachable way, I think. Joyride for me on a brand new 10-speed favorite Nikes, just 13. I'm on my way. Joyride for love, a beat-up-old pickup, driving fast, music blaring away. 3 boyish bumpkins, barely 18, smiling big, I'm going my way, or so it would seem. My, how things can change, and the faster the world spins, the slower things seem. When you're trapped in the daymare, you wish were a dream. Then I hope there's a heaven, 'cause I visited hell, and it ain't paved with good intentions. Joyride for me, how nice these 3 to hitch me to my destination. Wait, they are turning, the truck is swerving to the woods, they've lost my way. Joyride for love, hold you coming, welcome to the White Trash Boys Club. They sacrificed me to stud one of their own, stepping up, they've had their way, or so it would seem. My, how things can change, and the faster the world spins, the slower things seem. When you're trapped in a daymare, wish were a dream. And I hope there's a heaven, 'cause I visited hell, and it ain't paved with good intentions. A joyride for me, through blocked memories, flooding back to me in my 30s. Therapy tunes, healing yesteryear's wounds. Finally, I'm on my way. My, how things have changed, and the faster the world spins, the slower things seem. When you're trapped in a daymare, I hope there's a heaven, 'cause I visited hell, and it ain't paved with good intentions. Faster the world spins, the slower things seem. When you're trapped in a daymare, you wish were a dream. And you know there's a heaven, 'cause I survived hell, despite all ill intentions.
Thank you so much, Deb. That song is very powerful.
And there was a point where it wasn't fun to play that song, but now it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nice energy release. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then I also have an art card here that I want to show briefly, and this one is about that same experience.
Yeah, when I chose the images for this card, I knew I was detailing this incident. And so you can see there's a lot going on in that card. But one of the wonderful things about doing this form of art is I was able to take that trauma from inside of me, take it outside, put it on this card, and the trauma no longer lived inside me. It lived on the card. And I could see it and view it from a distance and a perspective that I couldn't when it was still trapped within. And so it's wonderful and freeing to be able to translate the trauma into artwork in this way.
Yeah, art is an amazing healing modality, and we try to use it at Access too. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So Deb, switching gears a little bit to be a little bit lighter for this next question, I want to ask you about your non-traumatic childhood memories. So one of the joyful parts of the book is your description of happy childhood memories and your very special relationship with your great-grandmother.
Yeah.
Speak to us a little bit about the assets of your childhood that helped you both then as well as later on.
Right. So the always memories provide a transition between trauma and everyday life for me. And in it, I am surrounded by relatives from both sides of my parents' extended families. They all lived in the same town. So every birthday was celebrated, every holiday with this large group of people. And both sides of my family were so intertwined, I didn't know who was and wasn't related. It didn't occur to me that my cousins had other grandmas and grandpas.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that stability of being able to count on birthdays and Christmas and contact with these extended relatives was very helpful for me. And my favorite person in the whole wide world is my great-grandmother, and I get to immortalize her in chapter 10.
Yeah.
When I wrote the book, I didn't even realize this wonderful side effect would happen, that everyone would get to know her. Everyone that reads my book gets to know who my great-grandma is and carry a little piece of her around with them. So I'm going to share with you one of my favorite memories of her. And this was a day where my cousins and I were playing kickball in the backyard at my grandma's house. So my grandma and my great-grandma lived together. That's a little confusing. So all the other adults are inside the house chatting away. We're playing in the yard, and great-grandma is hanging up laundry. Okay. Oh, and this is at the point where one of my cousins decides to sit down and not play anymore. So we have uneven teams. With uneven teams, Big Bro declares, "I'll be the all-time pitcher for both teams." "I have a better idea," I announce and holler over my shoulder. "Come on, Great-Grandma, you can make the teams even. Play on my team." I beg her to join. Her silvery bun glistens, while her skin-draped arms dismantle the hanging sun-baked bedding long since dripped dry. "Oh, no," she chuckles. "I don't know how to play." "It's easy, Grandma. You just kick the ball and run around the bases," I reassure her. She continues to protest through giggles that hint possibility, as one by one the calico sheets appear to dance off the clothesline and fold themselves into a wicker basket by her simple sleight of hand. These pastel linens match what I imagine would have fit the bed of the Easter Bunny before being faded by age and wear. "It'll be fun," I insist, as my hand grasps hers and leads her away from the nearly nostalgic chore, and the kids chime in agreement. Her laughter drifts nearer the playing field as she takes off her apron and drapes it over the neatly folded laundry pile. Great-Grandma always wears dresses, no matter the occasion. She owns neither shorts nor slacks, not to mention sneakers. If chores warrant a red print dress and stout black heels, so must a sporting event. Through her chuckles, she insists, "I've never played sports, not even as a young girl. I don't know why in heaven's name I should start now, not at my age. I'm 87, you know." "I know, Grandma. You're not too old, and it's easy. You just kick the ball and run around the bases." I can feel her light-hearted nature and the kid within giving in to temptation. I coach her one last rundown of the game's rules, and she steps up to the plate. Big Bro rolls the large swirl blue dime store ball right under her high kick step. "Strike one!" Her chuckles rise into chortles. Little Bro and Lynn instinctively move closer infield as our team shouts encouraging words. Big Bro pitches the ball along the grass a bit slower, and bam! Grandma's foot makes contact. The indigo orb sails over Big Bro's head, and its trajectory sends Little Bro in the alley after it. "Run, Great-Grandma, run!" my team cheers. "Oh, okay." She shakes free of her amazed daze and takes off running, straight to third base. Perhaps my directions should have been more specific. I did say just kick the ball and run around the bases, and she did. Grandma continues her clockwise jaunt to the lilac tree, second base, whooping with deep belly guffaws that would rival Santa. "Oh, ho, 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 ho." Meanwhile, the fielders purposely miss their attempts to throw her out at each base. The contralto, woo-ho-ho, is a continuous chorus as she rounds first and completes her reverse home run to an eruption of cheers.
Thank you. Chapter 10 was definitely just really beautifully written and a highlight of the book. And I think readers will be able to tell how much you loved your great-grandmother. Tell us about this art card in relation to her.
Yeah, so this picture isn't of her, but it reminds me of her, her spirit, her essence. And so this card is called Twin Soul, just like the chapter that's dedicated to her is called Twin Soul. That's how I felt about her. And you can see me dancing, this little child, playful with her, and all the different hands of connection that I have with her. And then even me as an adult, kind of down on the side, meditating over there. Yeah. And that's how I connect with her still and now, is through meditation. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you. So for my last question, Deb, I know that you wrote this book during quarantine, and now it is out and available for readers, which is very exciting. Just generally speaking, what messaging do you hope that people will be able to take away from this narrative?
I really want people that have had experiences like me to know that healing can happen, and that, healing is really hard work. There's a huge mess in the middle of it, but there is help and there's hope and ways to get through it, and that the essence of you is still unspoiled, and the trauma does not define you. You didn't deserve it. It's not a part of you that you have to keep carrying, that you can actually release it and let it go. So that's my hope for readers that have experienced trauma, that they will be able to find their way through in their own way, in their own time. And then for other people that support, that are allies and professionals supporting them, to have an inside look of what it might be like for someone who's forgotten trauma and then remembers it later.
Absolutely. And so then we have one last art card to show.
Speaking of hope.
Yes. This is called Swan Diver.
Yeah, this is my favorite card, and it represents my 4-year-old self, and she is so brave. In the book, at one point, I appointed her my CEO of healing because she remembered what it was like to be fearless and happy and in love with life and the world. And she made me dance and do art and sing some more. And through her guidance, I was able to heal. And she dove to those murky depths of where the memories were hiding and brought them each one to the surface, basically rescuing them and rescuing me. So, this is my favorite card in the whole deck, is the representation of this 4-year-old part of myself. So in the spirit of ending on a high note, I'm going to read a portion of a poem, and the portion is in the book. And it just talks about my own faith in the universe and faith in humanity. And then I'll also do one final song that is a hopeful song that I hope you will enjoy. I have faith in an embracing universe. I trust that while I am here and when I am gone, the universe will continue its infinite cycle. Whether the I of me ends up simply as compost for Mother Earth to rejuvenate herself from my former shell, or the I becomes a release of spirit energy expelled into the universal unknown, I trust my energy will merge with all that is.
Thank you.
So the song I'm going to play is called Every Little Piece of Me. The chorus is, every little piece of me is in every little piece of you and in every little piece of everything. And all I want to do is love every little piece of you so that I can love every piece of me in everything. that over so my fingers can get in the right place. One more time. I'm not broken, but there are pieces of me scattered everywhere. Perhaps you've seen me in a clouded tree looking in your mirror. Our separateness is illusion. That leaves just one conclusion, that every little piece of me is in every little piece of you, and every little piece of everything. All I want to do is love every little piece of you so that I can love every piece of me in everything. You're connected to the breaths and heartbeats of all living kind, to inorganic matter and the ancestors of past and future time. Our unity is a given, so let's all start living like every little piece of you is in every little piece of me, and in every little piece of everything. And all I want to do is love every little piece of you so that I can love every piece of me in everything. We're not broken, we're each shadow in every point of light. Earth and ocean, and the lift of a bird taking flight. We are one, it's true. But as we, not just me or you, and every little piece of me is in every little piece of you, and in every little piece of everything. And all I want to do is love every little piece of you so that I can love every piece of me in everything. In everything, in everything.
Yep. Thank you so much, Deb.
Thank you.
That was so beautiful. Thank you for playing all those songs today. So in closing, I think you have a couple of websites that you want to give a plug or a shout out to.
Yes, I do.
Cool.
So I want to plug Dog-Eared Books in Ames. They are our newest local independent bookstore right on Main Street. So I'd like you to go in there and say hi to Ellen and to Amanda and the therapy dogs. Have a cocktail if you like. and they are so gracious to have copies of my book on hand. So please go to Dog-Eared Books if you're interested in supporting local, and if you live around here, supporting their beautiful bookstore. I would appreciate that. You can also get my book online, and I have links on my website. So I want everyone to go to debkline.com. It's spelled DEBKLINE. Oops, it's backwards. .com. And on there, you can see more of my artwork that I presented today. I originally had selected a card for each chapter and then found out none of the images are within the public domain, and so I couldn't publish them for my book. So they are password protected on my website, and the password is forgetting. So if you just type in forgetting, all lowercase, in the guest area, you will be able to view my other soul collage cards. Also on debkline.com, I have my music. So I shared with you today some of my guitar music from this CD, Every Little Piece of Me. It has other guitar songs, and it has all three that I sang today. And then I have other music. I have the Forgetting to Remember soundtrack that was music before it was a book.
Yeah.
And that's all piano solos of healing music, so you didn't hear those today. And then I also have a little album called Child's Play. And Child's Play is all the music that kept me going through childhood. So they're kind of fun, simple songs that are easy to listen to. And I don't ask for payment for my music. It's all free. However, I do ask those that can easily afford to do so to make a donation to one of the links on my page. And one of my links is Access. And I put them on there because they were so crucial to my own healing journey. I did have a therapist that I went to that my insurance paid for, but my insurance only paid for 22 sessions per year. And at the time of the height of my trauma, of remembering it, I should say, I needed to see my therapist 2 to 3 times a week. And you can really burn through all of your allotted sessions quickly. So what I was able to do with Marcy and her team at Access was to see a counselor for free and to subsidize my my insurance allotment of counseling. They also had a group therapy class that I went to, and again, my insurance paid for some group therapy, not all, so I was able to supplement that as well for free. They did other events. If you've ever heard of the Clothesline Project, I made this t-shirt that summarizes my trauma. The pink side is for stranger rape, and the green side is for father-daughter incest. And then we got to hang these on a clothesline with other shirts from survivors. I decided to make mine adult size because I remembered all of my trauma as an adult, even though it happened earlier. So this project was very healing for me to be able to, I guess the project is kind of meant to air dirty laundry, so you don't have to be ashamed of it. And you can also see how many people are affected.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so cool you still have your shirt. That was a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought it.
And another thing that Marcy and I did together in 2015, we did a concert that featured this album. It was my first time sharing my healing music, my piano music with the public. So we took a free will offering in lieu of a ticket sale, so everyone could donate, or those that couldn't donate could come for free and hear the concert. So I did guitar songs, piano songs, some of the little kid songs, and some poetry. We had some artwork on display. And it was a really fun night. We were able to raise $2,000 for Access at this small venue concert of about 70 people. But the key things were that the venue itself was donated. It was a local church, and they let us use it for free. They let us use the sound equipment, and the sound person volunteered and did the sound for free. And even the cookies at the end were donated. Yeah. And then I did sell CDs at the concert, and anything above cost went to Access. So on my website, I have an outreach page. And if you would like to have me coordinate a fundraiser for your organization, if you work for somebody who, or an organization that supports sexual assault victims, victims of child abuse, people that are suffering from mental illness, please connect with me. Or if you're training professionals to work with people, please connect with me. And, hopefully we can raise some money for your cause, because I believe in full circle healing, and that because I am here today and can love my life, I want to pass that forward to other people.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Deb. And in closing, I would just love to speak directly to anyone who has experienced sexual violence or who loves someone who has experienced sexual violence. You're not alone, and we're so glad that you joined us virtually today. If you would like to speak to someone about your experience or any questions that you have, please know that you have an invite to reach out to Access. All of our services are totally free and totally confidential. You could speak with one of our team members and then decide if you would like to get services or not. All of our services are completely voluntary. So Deb, I'm so grateful for you for doing this Q&A today and for your book. I get really excited about educational opportunities to share experiences about healing and about thriving, because I think that messaging in relation to trauma often is missing in the narratives that we often hear. So thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Marcy.
And thanks to everyone for joining us live. And we hope you have a really lovely Tuesday afternoon. Take care.